So let me take you back to when I was 13 and living in the middle of absolutely nowhere, rural Michigan. Now, if you've never been to rural Michigan, let me paint you a picture. Trees, cornfields, silence, and a whole lot of nothing else. If you're someone who enjoys being alone in the middle of nowhere with nature and your thoughts, it's paradise. If you're me, it was a nightmare waiting to happen. Now, my parents used to leave me alone a lot, not because they were careless, but because I was a mature kid. I had responsibilities, taking care of the property, feeding whatever animals we had at the time, and most importantly, not burning the house down. So, it's a Saturday. I'm chilling in the living room playing GTA San Andreas on my old PS2, living my best life. And then, bang, a metallic sound from outside. The kind that makes your soul jump out of your body for a second. I paused my game immediately, because, priorities, and ran to the windows, checking every single one like I was the neighborhood watch. Nothing. But then, I looked out at the storage building in the backyard, and I saw it. The door was wide open. Now, let me tell you something. This door was heavy. Like, no wind, no accident. No ghost was opening that thing on its own. Someone had to have opened it. So, like any 13-year-old with an overinflated sense of bravery, I grabbed my dad's rifle from the closet and stepped outside. I had a gun. I had confidence. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I shouted, "Who's in there?" Nothing. I got closer, gun in hand, and before even peeking inside, I made it very clear. I have a gun. Don't be stupid. Still, nothing. At this point, my body was screaming at me to go back inside, but I wanted to at least shut the door. So, I did the most logical thing. I slammed that thing shut and sprinted back inside the house like my life depended on it. I locked every door, sat by the window with a rifle in my lap, and just watched. If that door opened again, I was ready to cry, call my parents, or maybe both. But then, things got worse. While I was sitting there, I heard footsteps from inside the house. Now, I was thinking, was it the storage shed? Sure, maybe I imagined it. Maybe the wind did something crazy. But footsteps upstairs? No, that was real. I grabbed the rifle again, my heart pounding so hard, I swear it was trying to escape my chest. I moved silently up the stairs, not calling out this time, because, I was starting to think I didn't actually want to know who was in my house. At the top of the stairs, I turned on the hallway light. 5 doors. 4 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. All closed. I crouched down and peeked into my parents' bedroom door. 2 bare feet, just standing there. I swear my soul left my body. I didn't even breathe. I just turned around and ran downstairs, straight to bathroom, locked the door, shaking, gun in my hands. I grabbed a landline phone. We didn't really text back then, and called my dad. No answer. Left a voicemail. I called again. No answer. I called again. Still no answer. I should have called 911 immediately, but my 13-year-old brain was still like, nah, Dad's gonna handle it. I was calling 911 when I heard it. Footsteps coming down the stairs, coming straight to the bathroom. I heard them stop right outside the door. Silence. Then a deep voice, a voice I didn't recognize, said, "What's up, kid?" At that moment, my body shut down. My brain, absolute panic mode. My voice barely worked, but I forced out, "I'm on the phone with the cops right now, and I have a gun." I put the operator on speaker, so they could hear her talking. He tried to open the door, but it was locked. I lost all sense of self-respect. I wanted to cry, puke, and possibly pass out all at once. Then, the footsteps walked away. A few seconds later, I heard the door being shut. The back door. I stayed in that bathroom until I heard sirens. The cops showed up, and let me tell you, I have never been happier to see anyone in my life. They searched everywhere. No sign of the guy. But here's the part that still haunts me. I left the door unlocked when I went to check the storage building. The second I stepped out, that guy must have just walked right in. Even with a gun, I didn't feel safe. I stayed with my uncle for a few nights. And let me tell you, I checked every single door and window before going to bed. I never saw the guy again. Never found out who he was. But I still remember his voice. If I ever hear it again, even years later, I swear I'll know. And that, my friends, is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. I was home alone one night. No idea why. Maybe my family was out of town. Maybe they just abandoned me for the evening. I don't remember really. All I know is I was about 15 or 16, sitting in my room, completely locked into a game of StarCraft. If you know the game, you know. I wasn't about to lose a match because of some real-world nonsense. Then, out of nowhere, the doorbell rings. Twice. Now, I'm already annoyed because I'm in the middle of the game, but whatever. I run to the door, hoping it's something quick. I do the usual who is it through the door, and I hear this soft, kind of weak voice. It's a woman, but I can't make out what she's saying. So, I crack open the main door but leave the storm door locked because, you know, I'm not a total idiot. Standing there is this older lady. Big OL smile on her face, hands behind her back. She's just standing there, all creepy grandma-like. She asks if she can come in and use the phone. Now, let me be clear. I don't care if you're 8 or 80. I'm not letting a stranger into my house. My parents drilled that into me since I was a kid. But I didn't want to just shut the door in her face, so I told her, there's a library a few blocks down. They probably have a phone you can use. She keeps smiling, but then she says, that's very rude to turn away an old lady asking for help. And I don't know how to respond to that. So I just go, house rules, no strangers inside. I slowly start closing the door, still apologizing, and she's just standing there, smiling, not moving. And suddenly, her smile doesn't look so friendly anymore. Now, I'm already on edge, so when the doorbell rings again, I'm like, nope, absolutely not. I go back to my room, sit down, try to get back into my game. But guess what? I heard metal tapping against my window. I freeze. My window is right in front of my desk, blinds pulled down, and immediately I just know it's her. She walked over to my window. I reach over, mute my computer. Game over. I don't care about StarCraft anymore. This just went from weird to terrifying. The tapping keeps going. At this point, I just get up and leave my room. No way I'm dealing with that. I sit in the dark living room for a while, just listening, trying to convince myself it's nothing. Then, the doorbell rings. Now she's spamming the doorbell. I'm losing my mind at this point. I keep telling myself, maybe she's just lost. Maybe she's confused. Maybe she's not dangerous. Just weird. But then the bell rings again, and I finally decide, okay, I'll at least see what she wants and tell her to leave. So I go back to the door, take a deep breath, and open it. But it's not her. It's a man. Looks about 10 years younger than her. And he says, hey, have you seen my mother? Now I feel a little bad. Maybe she does have dementia. Maybe this is her son looking for her. I tell him, yeah, she was just here a minute ago. He nods, then says, oh, sorry about that. She must have wandered off. Can I come in for a second? Hold up. Why does he need to come inside? I hit him with the same line. House rules, no strangers inside. He just stands there for a second, then I tell him, I think she might have gone into my backyard. I heard something at my window. He thanks me, turns and walks off. I shut the door, lock it, and go to the back window to see if he's actually looking for her. But there's no one there. No him. No old lady. Just nothing. That's when it all clicks. This wasn't some sweet old woman with dementia. This wasn't a concerned son. This was something else. And let me tell you, my soul left my body when, later that night, I heard tapping sound again. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I went to the window, lifted the blinds, and there she was, that same creepy smile. But this time, she was holding a kitchen knife, tapping it against the glass. I dropped the blinds so fast, I nearly broke them. Then, the doorbell rings. She's ringing the doorbell again. At this point, I'm just lying in bed, refusing to move, waiting for this nightmare to be over. No phone to call for help, No way in hell I'm opening that door. Eventually, it stopped. Next morning, I tell my dad everything. He says I did the right thing. Everyone agreed it sounded like an attempted robbery or worse. And honestly, the more I think about it, the creepier it gets. Because if that was really her son, how did he know she came to my house? Why didn't he actually check the backyard when I told him to? And why did she come back hours later with a knife? Yeah, I dodged something bad that night. And that's why, to this day, I never open the door for strangers. I live in a 2-floor mother-daughter house with my sister. She's at the downstairs. I've got the upstairs, and honestly, she's barely ever home. She's usually off at her boyfriend's place, which is great for her, but not so great for me when weird stuff happens. And let me tell you, this was weird. One night, I'm just chilling in my living room, watching a scary movie. Now, my part of the house is this big open space. Living room, dining room, and kitchen all connected. So no matter where I sit, there's always a giant dark area behind me, which, if you're watching a horror movie alone at night, is not ideal. And yeah, I kept glancing over my shoulder, because I'm not ashamed to admit that sometimes my own house creeps me out. Anyway, I finish my movie, brush my teeth, turn off all the lights, and go to bed like any normal person. Everything's fine, until it's not. I wake up around 1 a.m., just randomly. At first, I have no idea why. You know when you wake up suddenly and for a second, you don't know if you dreamed it or something actually happened. That was me. But then I hear it, a voice from downstairs. And not just any voice, my sister's voice. At first I think, oh, she must have come home early. But then I realize something's off. It doesn't sound like she's calling for me to open the door or anything. No, it sounds like she's already inside the house. Now, I'm groggy as hell, but I hear her say my name. So, obviously I get up and go check. Like an idiot, because you know, horror movie logic. I step into the pitch black hallway, flip on the light, and make my way toward the stairs. As I'm walking, I hear her again, clear as day, calling my name from downstairs. But now, I can't make out if she's upset, scared, or just talking normally. So, like a genius, I keep going. I get downstairs, fumbling around for the light switch in the foyer. Can't find it. Whatever. I move toward her kitchen. Finally find the switch and flick it on. And that's when I realize there's no one there. Not her. Not her boyfriend. Not a single living soul. I check her bedroom. Empty. Living room? Empty. At this point, I'm standing there, heart pounding, trying to convince myself I'm just hearing things. But then, something falls in her bedroom. Now, let me be clear, I just checked that room. There was nothing in there. But the second I call out her name, something hits the floor. I don't even look. I turn around so fast I nearly trip over my own feet, sprint up the stairs, and lock myself in my room like a little kid. I grab my phone and start calling her over and over. No answer. Great. Fantastic. Now I'm sitting in my bed, basically having a crisis, wondering if I'm losing my mind. Eventually I pass out because, apparently, my brain just decided to give up. Next morning, I wake up to a text from my sister. She's asking me why I called her at 1 a.m. I immediately text back, "Were you home last night?" She replies, "No, I was at my boyfriend's." Why? And that's when I knew I did not imagine it. Just to prove to myself that I wasn't crazy, I went downstairs to check her room. You know, to see what fell. Nothing. Not a single thing out of place. No books on the floor. No knocked over lamp. Nothing. So now I'm left with two options. Either I hallucinated everything, which to be fair, is a version I won't believe, or someone, something was down there that night. And let's just say, ever since then, I triple-checked the locks before going to bed. I was 18 and my parents had just left for a week-long anniversary trip. My older brother had already moved out, so I was home alone. Now our house, it's not one of those neighbors 5 feet away situations. Nah, we're talking deep in the woods, long dirt driveway. Closest house is a 5-minute walk away. If someone screamed, you might not even hear it. Now, everything was fine at first. I was enjoying my freedom, eating junk food, leaving dishes in the sink, living the dream. Then, on one of those days, I stopped at a gas station to fill up my car. Just as I'm finishing up, this black Jeep Cherokee pulls up next to me. Out steps this guy, maybe mid-40s, goatee, a little too friendly. He gives me a nod and asks, "Hey, do you know how to get to the interstate from here?" I mean, sure, no problem. I give him directions. But then he does something weird. Pulls out a notepad and starts writing them down. Now, call me paranoid, but who writes down directions in 2020-something? Google Maps exists, dude. Anyway, he thanks me, asks if I'm from around here. I say yeah, and he goes, "Nice. What's your name?" Now, I should have just lied and said something ridiculous like Bartholomew or Turbo, but no, I say, "It's Jake." And he smiles and says, "That's a great name." Okay, weird compliment, but whatever. So I get in my car and drive home. But as I turn onto my driveway, I notice something. That same black Jeep Cherokee, it's right behind me. But instead of following me onto the driveway, he just keeps driving past. Didn't even slow down. Now, maybe he just got lost again. Maybe he was still looking for the interstate. But something about it felt off. Fast forward to later that night. I'm heading out to meet some friends, walking to my car, when I hear footsteps coming from the woods. Now it's summer, and we've got all kinds of animals around. So I think, probably a deer. I get in my car and leave. No big deal. But when I get home that night, I get out of my car, and someone calls my name. Jake. I froze. My brain short-circuited. Who the hell was that? I look around, but it's pitch black. I can't see a thing. Then, full panic mode kicks in. I sprint to the front door, fumble with my keys like I'm in a horror movie, and slam the door shut behind me. I'm shaking, my heart's pounding, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it was a neighbor? But no. Our neighbors don't just lurk in the woods, calling people's names at night, like some cryptid. I call my parents. They brush it off, saying, "Oh, it's probably just a neighbor. If they need something, they'll knock." But no one knocked. Next night, same thing. I'm going out again. But this time, as I step outside, Jake. Loud. Closer. Nope. I turn around, ran back inside, locked the door, and immediately called 911. 2 cops show up, do a quick sweep of the property, and tell me to call again if anything else happens. Great. Super reassuring. The next day, I had work, and thankfully, nothing weird happened when I left. But when I came back home late that night, oh, it got way worse. I step on the porch, and that voice calls out again. Jake, don't call the cops on me again, cutie. Cutie, excuse me, what? I don't even think. I just yell, "You need help, you're sick," and bolt inside. I call the cops again, and they show up again, do another check, and leave again. At this point, I'm done. My parents tell me to stay at a friend's house, and I don't even argue. My buddy Alex is like, "Dude, crash at my place, no problem." So I pack a bag, check all the windows, make sure no one's outside, and then sprint to my car. But just as I get in, a man in a face mask tries to open my door. Right there, standing next to my car, pulling on the handle. I can't even scream. I just shove the key in the ignition, slam it into drive, and floor it. As I peel out, this dude starts hitting my window with his elbow. I don't stop. I don't look back. I just drive straight Alex's house while full on ugly crying. We call the cops again, and they send officers to check out my parents' house. Thankfully, nothing was broken into. But at that point, I knew this guy had been watching me, probably since the gas station. He knew I was alone. He was playing some sick game, and when the cops showed up, it only made him mad. My parents came home the next day, and I have never been so relieved to see them. But you best believe I was out of that house within a few months. I moved into an apartment with actual people nearby, neighbors, security cameras, the works. Looking back, I keep thinking of all the dumb things I did, giving him my real name, not noticing he was following me, not taking the first Jake call seriously. But the scariest part, I have no idea who he was. And I don't know if they ever caught him.